This is Chapter 12 of What Grows After Goodbye by Alexi Hart. The last pumpkins of October were still softening on porch steps when Natalie woke before dawn on Thanksgiving morning. The house smelled of cinnamon and sage, and she stood in the kitchen barefoot in Michael's t-shirt, stirring her mother's stuffing recipe while trying not to drop her phone into the mixing bowl. Darlene insisted on FaceTiming from her own kitchen across town to provide real-time commentary on the seasoning. "Put another stick of butter in," Darlene said, squinting at the screen as if she could taste the contents of Natalie's bowl through sheer willpower. "It's a holiday, honey. Butter doesn't count." "You said that last year, and we all went into a food coma," Natalie laughed, scraping the softened celery from the cutting board. It felt good to tease, to feel her friend's easy affection rather than the tight politeness that had hovered around them when she'd first started seeing Michael. In the background, she could hear Carla instructing her nephew to put marshmallows on the sweet potatoes and ignoring Darlene's gentle nagging. Michael appeared behind her, hair mussed, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Morning, chef," he murmured into her neck. "Need any taste testers?" Natalie swatted him with the wooden spoon as Darlene whooped through the phone. "Get a room," Darlene stage whispered. "On second thought, don't. This stuffing needs supervision." Darlene signed off after reminding them to save room for pie. Natalie leaned back against Michael's chest, listening to his heartbeat settle her own. They had decided to host Thanksgiving together, inviting both families under their roof. It was the first major holiday since Michael's parents had lost the house in Willow Creek, and since Natalie had cooked a holiday meal for someone other than Ryan. The dining table was extended with a mismatched leaf borrowed from Helen and draped with a patchwork quilt. She had polished her grandmother's silver and put out napkins embroidered with turkeys. There were new traditions here, woven with old ones. By late morning, the doorbell jingled like a string of sleigh bells. Helen and Walter arrived first, carrying a steaming casserole dish and an armful of plastic containers. Helen hugged Natalie so tightly that the younger woman had to pry herself loose to take the food. "I brought my green bean casserole and extra rolls," Helen declared. "Michael always eats 5. You'll need them." Michael kissed his mother's cheek and lifted the lid to inhale the familiar smell. "Thanks, Mom." "Let me at that man who thinks he can out-eat my son," Walter joked, shuffling in with a carved wooden butter churn he had carved for the centerpiece. The churn featured delicate inlays of oak leaves and acorns and was obviously meant more for decoration than utility. "It's beautiful, Walter," Natalie said, genuinely touched. She cleared a space in the center of the table for it. An hour later, Ryan's car pulled up. Natalie wiped her hands on a dish towel and walked outside, nerves fluttering in her stomach. Her son's first visit home since she'd started dating Michael felt like some exam. Ryan stepped out of the car, taller than she remembered, his shaggy hair falling into his eyes. He enveloped her in a bear hug that smelled of dorm laundry detergent. "Mom," he grinned, pulling back to look at her. "You look happy." "Hi, baby." Natalie cupped his face, her heart swelling. "This is Michael." Michael wiped his hands and extended them. "Good to see you again, Ryan. We didn't scare you off last time?" Ryan shook his hand with the ease of someone who had shared a couch with the man, playing video games and raiding the fridge. "Not yet, but if there's football on, all bets are off." He gave Michael a lopsided smile and then whispered to his mother, "I like him. Don't tell him that. His head's already too big." Dinner was loud and chaotic in all the ways Natalie had missed. Michael carved the turkey with the precision of a surgeon, while Darlene, who arrived late with cranberry sauce from a can and a half-baked story about a squirrel attack, delivered a dramatic monologue about fending off wildlife to save her dessert. Helen insisted on saying grace, though she peppered her prayer with jokes about not burning the rolls. When Ryan announced that he'd declared a major in environmental engineering, Walter missed it up. They toasted to new beginnings and to Michael's upcoming grand opening of the Grove. After pie and coffee, Natalie and Michael stole a quiet moment on the back porch, wrapped in matching knit blankets. "Is it terrible that I like having everyone under one roof?" Natalie asked, her head on his shoulder as warm November sunlight slanted across the yard. "It's not terrible at all," Michael said. "I like watching you boss my mother around in the kitchen." She pretended not to like it. He chuckled, brushing his thumb over her hand. "About Ryan. I know this must have been weird for him." "He's okay," she said. "I think he's happy that I'm happy. We talked after everyone left. He said it was strange seeing me with someone who wasn't his dad, but he also said he saw how safe with you." Michael's breath hitched slightly. He turned and kissed her gently, the sweetness of pumpkin and nutmeg still lingering between them. "I hope he knows he can always talk to me if he wants. He knows. He knows that I'm not replacing his father." "I could never do that," Natalie said. "But I'm also allowed to have a second chapter." Michael pulled her closer until their bodies fit like puzzle pieces. The conversation drifted, their banter easy, the chemistry that had simmered between them for months flaring to life as the autumn twilight deepened. They took their time, exploring the familiar with new urgency. It was a dance of tenderness and heat, and when they finally sought the privacy of their bedroom, they moved together in sync, giving and taking pleasure with whispered encouragements and laughter muffled into pillows. Afterward, Natalie lay with her head on his chest, tracing lazy circles over his skin. "Is it weird that I'm excited about spreadsheets?" she asked, half asleep. Michael laughed quietly. "Extremely. But I love that about you." The Monday after Thanksgiving marked the official opening of the Grove. Natalie had spent the weekend helping Michael hang art on the freshly painted walls, local photographers' landscapes, and bright abstract pieces by Carla's teenage nephew. The space buzzed with nervous energy. On the morning of the launch, a steady stream of people filed in. Freelance writers with laptops, a pair of real estate agents, a craft brewer with a laptop bag slung over one tattooed arm, and a retired teacher starting a tutoring business. Michael moved from group to group, introducing people, making sure the Wi-Fi password was visible, and artfully dodging Claire, who had unexpectedly shown up with a plant and a smile that was a little too bright. Natalie noticed her presence almost immediately. "I thought you said Claire was working remotely from Brazil," Natalie whispered, raising an eyebrow. "She was," Michael muttered, accepting the plant while keeping his expression neutral. "Apparently, she's back in town for the holidays and wanted to see the space." Claire's eyes widened when she spotted Natalie. "Oh my gosh, Natalie! You're Michael's Natalie!" she exclaimed. "I've been dying to meet you. He talks about you all the time." Natalie fought the urge to roll her eyes. Claire was gorgeous and effortlessly stylish in a way that made Natalie feel both dowdy and oddly defensive. "Nice to meet you," she said, forcing a smile. "Michael didn't mention you were dropping by." "It was a last-minute thing," Claire said brightly. "I wanted to see how our boy was doing. This space is charming." Michael caught Natalie's gaze over Claire's shoulder, his expression apologetic. He mouthed, "Later?" Natalie gave a small nod. They still hadn't talked about the consulting offer Claire had dangled at him weeks earlier, and her sudden reappearance made Natalie's stomach clench. In the afternoon, the mayor stopped by for a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Natalie watched Michael stand beside the mayor with the giant ceremonial scissors, his hand barely shaking. As the green ribbon fluttered to the floor and the community cheered, she felt her chest swell with pride. This was his dream come to fruition, and she had been part of it. While Michael schmoozed investors and local press, Natalie refilled the coffee station and gave impromptu tours. A young graphic designer asked her about membership tiers, and Natalie found herself explaining pricing structures and day pass options like she'd been trained. When she dropped the third stack of flyers, the designer bent to help, his eyes flicking to her ringless left hand. "You work here?" he asked. "I'm helping my partner," she replied. Saying the word still sent a spark through her. "Ah, got it." He glanced toward Michael, then back at her. "You two make a good team." She smiled, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Thanks." The next week at Whitaker Books, Natalie found herself behind the counter more often than in the back office. Mr. Whitaker's retirement date loomed, and his trust in her was both empowering and terrifying. She had never pictured herself running a business, yet she felt a sense of belonging every time she checked inventory or planned an author reading. Her notebook was full of ideas: children's story hours themed around seasonal festivals, partnerships with local schools, a monthly book club that doubled as a wine tasting. "You're a natural," Mr. Whitaker said one afternoon as they shelved hardcovers together. He wiped dust from his glasses with a handkerchief. "My doctor keeps reminding me that stress isn't good for my blood pressure. I'd hate to keel over on a stack of romance novels." "You're not going anywhere," Natalie insisted, balancing a ladder while he climbed to the top shelf. "I'm serious, Natalie." He turned, his expression unexpectedly solemn. "I meant what I said. When I retire after the new year, I want you to take over the shop, not as an employee, as the owner." Her mouth went dry. "Mr. Whitaker, I don't have the money to—" "We'll work out a financing plan," he interrupted. "We can do a gradual buyout. Carla's on board to stay on as assistant manager. You'd be doing me a favor. I know you'll keep this place alive." Natalie's mind buzzed with numbers and possibilities. Could she juggle owning the bookstore and helping Michael with the Grove? Could she invest in her own dream while still honoring her past? She thought of the way Ryan had looked at her on Thanksgiving, of the pride in Helen's eyes, of the joy she felt each time she set a book in a customer's hands and watched them light up. "Let me think about it," she said, voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Whitaker nodded. "Promise you'll think with your heart, not your head." At home that night, Natalie recapped the day over spaghetti while Michael boiled water for tea. "He wants me to buy the bookstore," she blurted out. "He said he'd finance me. He actually trusts me with it." Michael turned off the burner, setting the kettle aside. "Well, do you want it?" "I don't know." Natalie twisted her fork in the pasta. "It's a huge responsibility. It's my dream job, but it's also risky. We're already up to our ears with the Grove." Michael rested his elbows on the counter, leaning toward her. "I'm not going anywhere. We can handle two dreams at once. It's not either/or." "What about Claire?" The question spilled out before she could stop it. "Are you considering going back to consult for her firm?" Michael's expression softened. "No. I told you that, and I meant it. Claire showed up because she's bored, or maybe because she wanted to see if she could still affect me. She can't. My life is here, with you, with the Grove. I meant what I said in Atlanta. You're my home." Natalie, she felt it, tension draining from her shoulders. "Okay. I'm sorry. When you were talking to her, I felt like the high school girlfriend again, worried I'd get left behind." Michael reached across the counter and laced his fingers with hers. "You're not being left behind. This is our journey. If you want to buy that bookstore, I will be the first person to sign up for story time." Her laughter bubbled out, easing the last knot of anxiety. "You'd make a very compelling Mr. Rogers," she teased. Later, after dinner dishes were piled in the sink and a December storm pattered against the windows, They curled up on the couch to watch a holiday movie. The fictional couple on screen kissed under mistletoe, but Natalie barely saw them. Her mind ping-ponged between spreadsheets, bookstore floor plans, and the feel of Michael's thumb tracing circles on her knee. When the credits rolled, he turned down the volume and looked at her seriously. "Nat?" he said. "Yeah?" He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Her heart stopped. "Don't freak out," he said quickly. "It's not what you think. Yet. This is a key." He opened the box to reveal an antique skeleton key on a silver chain. "It's the key to the storage closet at the Grove. It's where I keep my most important stuff. Plans, paperwork, my extra coffee beans. I want you to have a key, because it's your space too." Her laugh turned into a relieved sob. She took the key, the metal cool and heavy in her palm, and then she threw her arms around him. "For a second there, I thought—" "I know," he whispered into her hair. "When I propose, and I will, it won't be with a key." Natalie pulled back enough to see his eyes. They were steady and warm. "Then I'll keep this key and practice unlocking all the doors we're going to open together." They sealed the promise with a kiss that turned slow and lingering, the kiss that made the world narrow to the taste of each other. Outside, the storm intensified, but inside, wrapped in each other and the possibilities of the life they were building, they were warm and safe.